Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Stevie Nicol and a very tired Don Hutchison is with us. Don, you're up till 4 a.m. watching the Super Bowl.
Mate, I stayed awake for the whole lot. By about 4:30, just as the trophy was being handed over, I was going.
Wow.
Loved it though.
I was in bed earlier than you.
Brady to Gronk.
Stevie, you're good friends with Tom Brady from your Revs days, so you were happy?
Oh yeah, did you not see him make a sign to me after one of the touchdowns? Give me one of them.
What?
Only I scored.
How is that? You got to do the heart, Stevie. Do the heart, not the cross.
What does that even mean? What's that even mean?
I was all I could come up with at the present at the moment.
Stay away.
Ah,
man. Now that Thomas Tuchel has taken over as manager of Chelsea, do they have any chance of beating Atletico Madrid? What do you think, Stevie? You haven't been too impressed so far. You're not one of these people jumping on the Tuchel bandwagon, Stevie.
Well, I wish somebody would tell me what I'm supposed to be impressed about. You know, they've got results, and at the end of the day, that's what you're there for, get results. But I don't see anything at all. I don't see any improvement under Tuchel than what Frank was doing.
I mean, results are better, defence is better.
Well, that's what I said. I mean, but Thomas Tuchel's this incredible coach, so where's this incredible football?
He's only been there 2 weeks. Give him a chance.
It takes time. Okay, it takes time. All right. Well, don't ask me about the changes he's made then. Wait, whatever time you need. Do you need 5, 6 weeks, 7 weeks? Let me know, and then come and ask me.
Sounds like Jurgen Klopp. Quickly down that question, wasn't it?
Well, seriously.
Have a go at the questions.
Oh, this Chelsea side is way better under Tuchel. He's only been there two minutes.
Don, in response to the question, do they have a better chance now of beating Atleti? Obviously they do, because they got a proper manager in charge.
Do you know what, mate?
Yeah. So it was the way you asked the question, it was a problem.
I've got to say they probably do, because they look a little bit more confident. I don't think there's much change. They're trying to get momentum. What was it, 3 wins and a draw? I still think Atletico Madrid go through. I think they're far too good for Chelsea. But listen, he's been there, a couple of weeks, and he's unbeaten in 4 with a few clean sheets.
For Don, where do you think your pal Frank Lampard should end up next in his managerial career? A Premier side challenging for the top 6 or an overseas adventure? Well, you'd like to cover him overseas, Don?
No, I'm a Newcastle fan. I'd like to see him at Newcastle, but Mike Ashley's not going to have Frank Lampard or Stevie.
Why would you want him at Newcastle?
What?
Why?
Why? Because he's a good manager and he's better than probably what we've got. Simple. Good. Football would be better. Results might be better. Change of culture might be better. Might see Newcastle play some good football. Everything's just been a bit stale. Everything's a bit drifty. We're just drifting, and we'll finish
Don,
6
bottoms. What are you basing
bottom.
this on?
Huh?
What are you basing it on?
Well, I'm basing it on him and Jody Morris having a different thought process than the old school managers who have been around for a long time.
But it didn't work at Chelsea, and you've got a better budget. You're having better players. He wasn't playing that sort of football.
You can't just say, well, Frank's not going to be a great manager just because he had a bigger budget at Chelsea. You've got to give the guy time to then go to maybe Crystal Palace or Newcastle, or what Stevie G's done at Rangers with hardly any budget and win the league and being unbeaten in 28 and playing good football. You've got to give these guys a chance to show us something different.
Stevie?
Yeah, that could be a Crystal Palace, and I think as far as
but he hasn't done anything. Why is he suddenly getting another Premier League job? He had a Premier League job and he failed.
Well, you can't just then say he's never going to get another Premier League job.
Hold on. So Dan, hold on. Dan, that's not what you were saying when they went 17 games undefeated at Chelsea, and they played some really good football, and the defending was really good. They had a bad run, yes, and unfortunately because it's at Chelsea, then you lose your job. That doesn't happen at most clubs. So on the whole, I think Frank did a good job. I thought they played some good football, but they had a horrible run. I mean, because of the run Liverpool's on, would you get rid of Klopp? If Abramovich was the manager of Liverpool, would he get rid of Klopp because of the run they're on and how bad they are? Oh, forget how great they've been. They're on a horrible run. Get rid.
Well,
and that all of a sudden that means Frank can't go to Crystal Palace.
I just think that because
Chelsea sat at the top of the Premier. At one time, Chelsea was sat at the top of the Premier
No,
League.
they were. And Frank was
So
coming
you're not
out and
gonna go and
saying,
make
we're
credit
not
for
title
that."
contenders, calm down. We shouldn't be looking at winning the title. When you kind of think, well, you should because they spent all this money and you've got to be
And he was
competing.
right.
And
Well,
then
he was
more,
right.
because he's Frank
Of course you do.
Lampard and he
That's
gives he's
exactly what he
everybody's
said.
mate, all of a sudden he can come in and take another Premier League side.
I've never met Frank
You've
Lampard.
never met him.
I've never met him.
I've never met him. I just pretend I know him.
He wishes he never met you, Don. Bloody WhatsApp again.
Don's tried to meet him, but he blanked him.
Just ghosted him.
He's got to be given another chance, though, isn't he? It's like if
like
Stevie
Frank.
G comes down from Rangers.
See you later.
If Stevie G comes down from Rangers and comes to the Premier League, let's just say Stevie G goes in it, I don't know, Newcastle. Let's just say he does okay, but he doesn't pull up any trees because he's not got loads of money to spend and he can't compete with the top six. And then in 2 years' time, Newcastle sack Stevie G. He's still got to get another chance of getting a job. You can't just say, you've been sacked from Chelsea, you'll never work again.
If he does get hired at Newcastle, you can't keep calling him Stevie G or Craig is going to kill you.
I know, but I've got Stevie G's Instagram account. I text him every now and again on Instagram, so he could be my new mate.
He could be your new mate in the DM. But Gerrard would have won something up at Scotland and done well.
No, I know. I'm just saying, what I like, Dan, is I like these new managers who have got new ideas, and I like fresh young managers.
You like English managers that are your mates?
No, they're not my mates. I've been in the game a long time, and I mean, and I promise you this, I mean no disrespect whatsoever to people like Tony Pulis, brilliant guy, been a stand-up manager for 20 odd years, same as Steve Bruce, same as Alan Pardew, same as Big Sam. I like all these guys, but I love the fact that we could probably have a Frank Lampard as Stevie G, someone a little bit different. Thomas Tuchel's come in who's going to be different.
You can't use Thomas Tuchel in the same context as Frank Lampard and Steven Gerrard.
No, he's different. No, he's different. He'll be good because he's different. I just don't want everyone playing boring, negative football. I like someone that's going to do something completely different.
Where are we going now? Stevie, were you typically...
Did you ever see Thomas Tuchel? Did you ever see Mainz when Thomas Tuchel was the manager?
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah, right.
Very good.
Yeah.
Good run in the cup.
You wouldn't know them. You wouldn't know that team on Mainz, the Tommy Tuchel, when he was there from a hole in that wall over in my.
So what point are you making here, Stephen?
Well, the point I'm making is you're giving it all this. Oh, how can you say Tommy Tuchel and judge him with this guy? Well, Tommy Tuchel went to Dortmund, right? Inherited a great team, right? And the first year they were second, and the second year they were third, and he got the sack. And then he went to PSG. And he did. What did he do at PSG? I wish somebody would tell me what he did at PSG.
Right.
Seriously.
Okay.
Because he didn't.
Right.
All we did was complain about how it depended on whether Neymar and Mbappe turned up, and if they didn't, they would lose. That's great coaching, that, isn't it?
So he didn't inherit a great team at Dortmund, did they? They were fighting relegation when he took over. He then propelled them up the table, and then he obviously went.
What are you talking about?
That's what I'm talking
Did you
about.
go look at the squad? And the reason I said that is I went and looked at the squad that he inherited.
Right. So how were they doing?
By the way,
how were they doing before?
Inherited,
how were they doing before
inherited
how were they doing before he took
and
over?
all these guys.
They were
by
struggling.
The way.
That's why he was brought in.
He inherited Mkhitaryan and all these guys, and your Hummels and Piszczek's and the goalkeeper. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
But did he
I
improve?
like how you called him Tommy Tuchel.
Did they improve it? He improved the side though going in, didn't he, Stevie? That's you can acknowledge that.
Well, so they finished second, and then the following year they finished third. How's that improving them?
Right. Well, how about the season when Klopp left? He
Well,
took
they fell
over
off.
and they were terrible.
Well, they got worse.
How
They
can
were
you
worse
get
by the
worse?
time you left.
How can you get worse when you put them up the table?
Because they were second. They were second in the first year, and then the
this
second
is
year
such a
they were third.
right, this
How
is-
do you mean? How did they get worse?
Because
The
when he
last
took
time I
over,
looked
they
at
were
the table,
struggling, and
if you're in third, you're
When he
worse
took-
than second.
when he took over, they were struggling, and he got them up to second.
He took over an absolute dynamite team that had a struggle in the second part of the season. But as far as the names in the back of the jerseys, this was a proper team that
Right.
wasn't doing well.
Okay. as you could say, is Chelsea a proper
So
team
they weren't
as
going
well?
to do any what? They weren't going to do any worse.
They weren't going to do
Excuse
any
me.
worse. That's how low it was. Right.
They weren't going to do any worse than they were.
Okay, away from the Lampard loving. Stevie, were you typically good with the media as a manager, or did you tend to make excuses like Klopp?
I thought I was pretty straight, to be honest.
Did you ever apologise to her? Did you
wouldn't-
ever snap?
Must have done.
I wouldn't say snap, but there was a couple of times I made comments that probably shouldn't have done, but that's not bad in 10 years.
Yeah, that's not bad, Stevie.
Yeah. Well, because you can't. And it's very difficult. I tell you, the worst thing is after the defeat, and you've got somebody. So let's put it this way: somebody asking you a question who you know doesn't know anything about football,
Right.
and they try and make out as if they know what they're talking about, and you have to be nice to them. That's not easy, I can assure you. But I think I was fair. A couple of times I snapped, but that was it.
Did you ever get fined for anything you said?
Yeah, a couple of times.
No, you haven't
Things
got
with
to.
referees.
Oh, just referees.
Yeah. Things with referees. Not with being disrespectful to journalists. I didn't know.
Don, what were you like post-match?
I was alright because I wasn't a manager.
Right.
So I was selfish.
Players can just look after themselves here.
Yeah, well, that's what we do. We're selfish. That's what type of beings we are. Managers, as Stevie said, they've got to take the brunt for it. And when the players let them down, everyone thinks it's the manager's fault.
Do you know what's funny? You know players. You know what they do. Typically, what they'll do is after you've spoken to them after the game, they'll kind of churn out what you said to them. So you can, again, if you want to get a message over,
Right.
when you've gone in after the game and you have a little word with them, whatever it may be about, you can plant little seeds. And then on the papers on the Monday morning, you read the newspapers and they'll go, yeah, so-and-so said this, and they'll be like, yeah, it worked.
Oh.
So they just spout out what you say. It makes it easier for them. They don't have to think. Generally, they're better off when they don't think. So you just, you can manipulate it that way. But as a rule, they generally spout out what you say.
For Don, who's impressed you the most for City in the absence of Aguero and Kevin De Bruyne?
Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan, I think, Dan. Another player that was at Dortmund under Tommy Tuchel. I just think he's an amazing player. I think he's got a great football brain where he can play as a 6. He's played as a false 9. He's scoring goals since David Silva's moved on. I think he's took the mantle where he's playing a lot further forward. Always been a good technician when he's on the ball. And when City play well, I always think he has a good game. He's a player that I love watching. I think he makes the game very easy.
Stevie, were you ever particularly antagonised by another team's goal celebration?
No.
No? I can't imagine you were paying much attention. What about as a
No,
coach?
no,
What
I was
about-
either too busy.
What about as a coach? Like, did another coach, the way they acted, did that not get up your nose?
Aye, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, the
That's why I
good
should
thing is in MLS, when I was there, the benches were quite a distance apart, which was good. I could not survive. You know, when you look at games today and you see two coaches standing, 10 yards away from each other, 10 foot, I'm sorry, I wouldn't be able to cope with that. I would be falling out all the time. Couldn't cope with it.
Don?
No, I'd be too immature. If my team's winning, I'd be doing all sorts to provoke the other manager, and if they're provoking me, I'd be terrible. I'd rise to the bait. I'd snap too easy. It's not for me. Standing in a technical area, getting goaded by opposite managers and coaches, and the stuff that goes on. I'd be in trouble, I think, every week.
What about the opposition side, Don, when you were playing? Did you pay any attention
No,
to their goal
that's
celebration?
all right.
Yeah.
No, that's all right, because you can just 2-foot them. You can just,
Right.
you know, I've played against Vinnie Jones and, you know, John Fashanu, and, you know, we all played against them boys, and you just got stuck in. You matched them at their own, I was going to say ability, but sometimes thuggery. And then you hopefully, you know, the better side wins overall. But when you're on the pitch, Dan, you just take care of yourself. I played against Vieira and Stevie G and Roy Keane and
Stevie G,
pick. Yeah, and some real hard cases. Terry Hurlock, some mad characters where you just got to look after yourself. I've done some rascal tackles that, I think I put one on social media a couple of days ago when I two-footed an Arsenal player. It's probably a 4-month ban these days, but that was the era that we lived in.
We were angry off the pitch as well, Don.
No,
just on the pitch.
I was a different character on the pitch, Dan. I could go through a game if I was playing well and everything was going my way, I could look quite silky and I wouldn't say elegant, but I was quite all right. I could handle myself, I could handle the ball. But if I was playing in the Liverpool team yesterday that got spanked against Man City, let me tell you, I probably don't last that game. I think the red mist comes at about 85 minutes. I end up topping someone and probably get a red card.
Wow, selfish. Stevie?
The coaching one you were asking?
Yeah.
There's some coaches, right, who sit in the backside and don't move, right? And then when the teams go ahead, the team scores against you and they go ahead, all of a sudden they're on the touchline and they're giving it this and pointing and they're shouting, going, John, giving it all that. And I tell you what, there was a couple of guys did it to me. I was absolutely fuming. Just because it's the old show, because the owner sat up in the box and you're standing on the touchline and you're ahead and he's pointing all directions and telling everybody what to do.
Stevie, did you play the Coventry game away when Graham Souness delivered his team talk about Mickey Quinn and Robert Rosario, who were Coventry's two frontmen? And I think it might have been Torben Picnic. I don't know if Stevie played or Mark Wright. And he said, these two centre forwards are the worst two centre forwards in the league. If they get a chance against us, I'm going to hammer yous after the game. I think Mickey Quinn scored 3 and Rosario scored 1, right? Jeremy Redknapp got sent off, right? And I was on the bench and Gordon Strachan was managing Coventry and Graham Souness said to me, get on, I want you to 2-foot someone right in front of the dugouts because I'm going to chin Gordon Strachan.
Wow!
Because Graham Souness' head just absolutely fell off because Coventry were battering us, and obviously Gordon Strachan was giving it this, that, and the other, and Souness went, get on there now and 2-foot someone and start a brawl.
Wow! And did you, Don?
Do you know?
Say again?
Did you?
Somebody sent me a picture.
Yeah, went straight on, smashed them one.
Wow! Go on, Bennett.
Did you play that, Stevie?
That's amazing. Somebody sent me a picture during the week of me taking Jamie Redknapp along the touchline because he'd just been sent off. I bet that was the game.
Yeah, that's it. Coventry.
He got sent off, and so I went in the squad. I wasn't dressed, and so when he got sent off, the gaffer said to me, "Hey, take him in." So I took him into the dressing room. I bet that was the same game. Highfield Road.
Yeah.
Stevie, what happens when you take someone in the dressing room in there? Because we do see like assistant coaches going with the person who gets sent off. Do you just kind of sit there? What do you do?
Well, it depends on them. Listen, I was trying to be. I was a little bit longer in the tooth by then, so obviously I was trying to, on the way off, I'm going, okay, don't worry about it. Things happen, Don't do it again. Blah blah blah. But I would assume it depends on the person, because if they're going mental, then you've got to try and calm them down and get them back to their senses. But Jamie was calm. He was pretty calm. Didn't say a lot.
Final point.
So we just leave him.
Don, every time I turn the TV on, you seem to be commentating a game. Other than parking, what are the benefits of commentating in an empty stadium?
The benefits is actually quite good because you can hear what the players are saying to each other and the communication, and you find out actually who are the leaders on the pitch. We were talking about David De Gea before. He is one of the quietest. So he doesn't really command his box. He doesn't give too much information to his centre-halves. So he is really quiet. But other games you can hear people like Cahill. When I've commentated on Palace games, you can really hear who's leading and who's telling who. Jordan Henderson's another one. He's a real shouter. So you get an idea on which players can lead and which ones are quiet and which ones just get on, left to their own devices. So you get a better handle on the individuals.
And they can hear you better as well, Don. So you can be like, Jody, cooey up here.
I'll tell you what, Dan. I tell you what, I commentated on Brentford versus Leicester in the FA Cup a couple of weeks ago, and all the Leicester subs were sitting one row ahead of myself when I was doing commentary. It was awful.
Why? Because you don't want to say anything bad in front of them?
Yeah.
Because Craig would relish it. He would slag everybody off just to antagonise them.
Yeah, no, but
he go out his way.
Because Brentford took the lead, and I think they accused Mendy, who was playing in the game, of switching off.
Right.
And as I said, Mendy switched off there. He's played him onside. About 4 subs just in front of me just turned around and give it one of them. I was like,
oh dear, Don.
But then you've got to call it how you see it.
What?
You know.
Of course you do. That is it. That is the end of what a mammoth extra time that has been. Thank you very much. We're all off now to watch Mines under Tommy Tuchel and see what we've learned.
Mines!
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week, subscribe to ESPN Plus.